straat gebreek.
Cable theft syndicates have multiple players, from petty criminals on the ground who dig up the copper cables to scrap metal dealers who buy it. Organized syndicates are at work, and it has major impact on the economy, communities and the business sectors.
Mense, kyk wat gebeur. Kyk hoe word ons kabels gesteel en die polisie doen rondom die storie. Jammer vir my ta, maar die polisie doen kyk hoe word ons kabels gesteel.
Ag nee man.
Die gebeur regtig nou. Dink julle dit is reg mense? Kyk wat gebeur. Die polisie doen rondom die.
It affects the power supply, telecommunications and transport sectors. The biggest demand of cable theft is a demand for copper.
Now, police have made quite a major bust at a Devlin scrapyard near Soweto. The raid was a joint operation between the SAPS, the JMPD, as well as Eskom, and piles of copper cables were confiscated there. The cables were stolen from Transnet Freight Rail, Prasa, Eskom, as well as City Power.
In Reiger Park in Ekurhuleni, people were recently captured digging and stealing copper right in front of the local police station in broad daylight.
These people were digging out this cable literally, whether it's in broad daylight or in the evening. On that specific day, I arrived at the scene at around 6 o'clock. I was on my way to a church meeting. When I saw the commotion, I decided, let me go to see what's happening, probably a problem right at the police station. And people were literally digging up and taking out the cable. That now has been the Zamas, together with some of the members of the community. But there was a little bit of a difference. The members of the community wanted to take out the cable so that it can be taken to the police station, so that the Zamas don't have any cable to come and extract. So subsequently to that, we then tried to stop these Zamas. I went to the police and I asked them to please stop these guys because they have a cable in hand. The police said to me there's nothing they can do because they don't have a complainant in this case.
Late last year, government placed a temporary ban on the export of copper in a bid to clamp down on theft. The ongoing theft and vandalism has been estimated at almost 50 billion rand a year.
If I look at this, I think there's a lot of things missing here. It looks like fuses that could have been taken. I'm not too sure. I'm not a technical guy. As I said, I'm inside here. I can see something's missing here. There's 15 different fuses that were stolen. I can see stuff has been stolen off here. All these cables are loose.
Authorities continue to arrest suspected criminals and make seizures, but many continue to try their luck.
I robbed the cables with other guys. When the time the security come, we're running away, and then we leave the Toulouse. And when the car came, me, I was near beside the car, so the security put me in.
In Johannesburg, 2 employees of contractors hired by City Power were arrested recently. Eskom pylons are now also being targeted.
We dispatched a team of technicians to promptly restore supply to Sibanye Gold Mine in Randfontein.
where miners were unable to resurface due to a supply interruption caused by power lines that fell, as the integrity of the pylons along these lines was compromised by theft and vandalism. Cookshaft 1, Cookshaft 3, and Panvlagte reductions power lines fell during the storm as the integrity of the pylons along these lines was compromised. The pylon structures were weakened by theft of the tower members and the unstable ground caused by digging around the foundation.
Eskom says thieves and vandals even target pylons, which often leads to the collapse of these pylons, posing great threat to the public and, of course, costing the parastatal enormous amounts. South Africa, meanwhile, has experienced rolling blackouts every day this year so far.
Streetlight poles are being stolen and damaged. And these high-rise street lamps vanish regularly. Traffic lights are not being spared.
Forget about load shedding. They're stealing all the robots. Unfortunately, this is on the way to the Kalani Mall, coming off the ramp. All the robots are being stolen, and unfortunately the police are doing absolutely nothing.
How big is the problem of cable theft in the city of Johannesburg?
It is a prevalent problem within the city of Johannesburg and Gauteng at large. For us, as the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department, it causes an even larger problem when there's cable theft and then traffic lights are not working, and added up with load shedding, then we have to make sure that officers are deployed at certain intersections, especially the busiest ones, to ensure that motorists do have free-flowing traffic throughout the city. But what we can appeal to members of public, that if you do come across such situations, please report as soon as possible so that action can be taken and culprits are brought to book. But as the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department, we have established an infrastructure protection unit which works closely with other departments within the city, like City Power and the JRA, and also with other law enforcement agencies, especially the South African Police Services, to make sure that we do curb this serious problem that we are facing within the city and within the province as well.
Your company is very involved in fighting the scourge as well. How big is the problem?
I think it's a massive problem. I think critical infrastructure has been a problem for some time. We've seen what's happened in Prasa with the railway lines, the stations, etc. We know, and Transnet, which are the issues, and a lot of other issues. So definitely, especially with load shedding now, they know that there's no power. So a lot of people that didn't have the expertise to steal cable while it was still alive are doing that now because they know exactly when it's going down. So we've definitely seen an increase in cable theft, and of course the critical infrastructure, the approach that we're using is a total different approach where we use drones, helicopters, night vision equipment and mobile teams.
Some communities are now taking it upon themselves to secure cables, and they're doing it at their own cost. There have been a number of incidents of sabotage, cable theft and attempted cable theft here, a few meters away from the Raslow substation in Centurion. The local community is now mobilizing to protect the network, in partnership with law enforcement and the Metro.
What they do is they cut the cable at the bottom. They damage it, and then the first one they just put grass over it because they got disturbed. They wanted to come back but they couldn't. And then the second one, it was this one that they actually just took a kitchen knife that's got a plastic handle and just stuck it into the cable.
It is very, very important for residents to work with the municipality and also to work with the other structures like the CPF. And if they've got information, that they can give it to TMPD or their CPF. Also with the infrastructure, the residents of Raslow are actually coming together to work with the municipality and TMPD and CPF to assist with this specific issues that we've got now of attempted cable theft, and hopefully from there on this will deter the cable thieves to come back to this area.
From my property I can normally hear it and see it, what's going on. For instance, our case was on Friday morning. It lasted for about half an hour. The power tripped, came on, tripped, came on, tripped, came on, and then eventually after about an hour, half an hour, it finally tripped, and we realized there's somebody is tampering with a primary cable in the vicinity.
As a community, let's stand together and see what can we do, how can we work together with the municipality, with law enforcement, and how can we contribute to making this area safe.
The cable theft is affecting the whole, it's actually a citywide problem. However, in my ward in particular, we've had a partnership with the residents, several estates that have their own business securities, and then they've managed to extend their scope to be able to guard the municipal infrastructure. That is number one. The second part, we had to source out private security to be guarding the R55 route from Rasdor substation up until Perdeblom alongside the road.
And these criminals are not stopping?
No, they're not stopping. I can tell you that. And no police is enough to be able to guard each and every kilometer of a cable that is available. That we cannot do. However, we need the partnership with the residents, we need partnership with TMPD, private security, SAPS, and obviously visible policing is very much important. And I can tell you that the city alone cannot do anything.
Man, back to back with load shedding, it's terrible. Residents are absolutely up in arms about this. We really need to work with the community, we need to work with TMPD, we need to work with the cable theft unit, with SAPS, and so many other groups. We need to form a coordinated group.
Technology plays a role. Today we showed a few of the items that I'm using in my ward that are possibly working on the lack of cable theft or the prevention of cable theft. In places where we have CIDs, they don't do law enforcement to catch people, they do crime displacement, which means they push the crime away from you, it becomes somebody else's problem. If you do that without consideration, then you're not working on the Ubuntu of how are we going to do it together as a community.
An angry crowd gathered in Mdantsane on Friday. They were accompanied by members of the community forum who were conducting raids at the hideouts of alleged criminals. The outrage comes after vandalism and theft at the Cecilia Makiwane Hospital. The Department for Health in the Eastern Cape says arrests have been made following Tuesday's incident.
There's been a breakthrough after 2 people alleged to be behind the stealing of the cables were arrested by the local community forum. They were since sent over to the police late last night, which was on Thursday. So we welcome that swift action from the community policing forum and the police.
The Eastern Cape Health Department has also confirmed that at least 120 acts of crime have been committed at health facilities in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro over the past 18 months.
Our city faces massive infrastructure damages amounting to 2.5 million rand over the last quarter of 2022. And even after the ban on the export of scrap metal was announced last year, there has been very little change in the constant onslaught against our infrastructure. We were able to effect 9 arrests and detected 481 different incidents across our camera network. In this case, resources were notified and were able to be on the scene quickly and perform an arrest. However, it can't go on like this, and we need national government to step up and put meaningful laws in place and ensure that they're given effect to and are properly enforced.